Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to the Not So Daily Show. The show comes to daily, except when it doesn't. I'm your host, Themba Kevin. Joined today by a political analyst and man with the coolest name in the world. What's good, bro?
I'm so excited, I can't hide it, man.
We've missed you, bro.
I missed you guys so much. But yeah.
You're back? It's good to have you.
Good to be back, yeah.
Alright, let's go into some politics then.
Let's go into it.
Alright, let's start with President Cyril Ramaphosa's appearance at the Zondo Commission. Cyril Ramaphosa's appearance was easier than a chartered accounting exam for white people. He was on fire, drawing even more laughs than Kevin Hart in his latest stand-up comedy on Netflix.
I thought you would. I definitely want to. Give some change, I would say 4 years. I may want to steal them to come and work for us. Please wait, let's finish the commission's work first. She votes alone. Mr. President.
Ramaphosa's story when asked about the CR17 campaign funding was so inconsistent, first claiming that he didn't know what was going on, then saying that the money that was raised was far less than $1 billion, only 300 million for t-shirts and airtime.
The campaign managers had taken a conscious decision that they would not involve me at all in the fundraising process. Up till today, I don't know how those funds have been managed. It's been said that R1 billion was raised. It was never R1 billion. I'm told that the money that was raised was some 300 million or so, but never R1 billion. But what was the money used for? It was used to transport people, to hire venues, travel for airtime, and all those types of things. I should explain this. When some of the money was given, particularly by Mr. Watson, it went from one account to another, and he moved the money from one account to the other, and it sounded then to the public protector that that was money laundering, and there was no such money laundering.
Luckily for him, the commission evidence leaders were more forgiving than Khloe Kardashian, so he just kept going and going. But President Ramaphosa was not even the most interesting part of last week's commission. Noma Gigaba put an end to all pillow talk as we know it. She told the commission everything that Melusi has ever confided in her during their marriage, showing that a woman's shoulder is clearly not a shoulder to cry on.
Mr. Gigaba's advisor.
You mean the Guptas?
Yes. Well, what was AJ Gupta briefing Mr. Gigaba about? What was the sorts of things that he briefed him about?
So sometimes you will brief him about the SAA, or you will brief him about Transnet.
What was discussed or what was briefed in relation to Transnet?
Most of the time in Transnet, it will be the people that AJ feels like they need to be appointed or need to leave or maybe they're restructuring. In
2013, did you attend the Gupta wedding?
Yes, I did.
Did you go to the Waterkloof Air Force Base?
Yes, I did.
And what did Mr. Gigaba then do with those bags?
He would put them at his study.
But on this particular day, did you enter the study?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I saw him taking money.
Who paid for your honeymoon?
AJ did.
How do you know that it was Mr. AJ Gupta who paid for your honeymoon?
Because he tells me when someone pays.
Who told you?
Melusi told me.
From now on, men have been advised to only answer fine, thanks, and you when asked by the woman how your day was, no matter how much it was bad, difficult, or turbulent. So, yeah, the commission, bro. I know in our chats, we spoke a bit about the Ramaphosa testimony.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Look, I caught both days, right? I watched it a bit, and
but they were very different.
Yeah,
they were very different.
In the park for him. Walk in the park in the sense that everything that we had hoped that they would ask him, obviously they didn't, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand because they still have more dates scheduled for him. Maybe they will deal with that then.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it felt like it was a campaign. He was campaigning because everything was literally there for him to now agree with the commission.
Yeah.
You know, but the other viewpoint of it is that some were saying that he was actually disempowered the commission, right, in terms of what they were asking by literally agreeing with them. So there wasn't really nothing for them to poke through. Deeper. So
I also analyzed it in that way, but the 2 days were very different for me, because the first day, clear walk in the park, PR exercise, started with a long opening statement. And even all his answers, they were so lengthy that it was taking time from the evidence leaders who had to ask him questions because they all have a limited amount of time. On the second day, when they all came back, it was clear that they knew that people weren't satisfied with the questions they'd asked. That's when now they touched on Busasa, they touched on the different things, but it almost felt like it was enough to just bring it up, but not to probe it. Especially with what we just mentioned now, with the CR17 campaign statements, and also with the CADA deployment
policy.
So all he said is, I see the problems, but we are fixing it. But he was there when the problems were happening. So I'm asking, would it be enough for Sodi to say that, I see we did that back then, but now we're fixing it? Because all of Ramaphosa's answers were, in hindsight, in hindsight, but you were there. What are we doing?
I think that's the disempowering part about it, because you were saying, like, look, with the benefit of hindsight, he is now able to say, okay, look, maybe we did a misstep here, we handled this incorrectly, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, but at the same time, that was also absolving him of any responsibility in terms of what actually happened, what went wrong, and what his role was. So by him now disempowering them in that regard, they were not now able to probe what his role was in making those decisions, what he did, what he said, at those critical times.
And for me, like you said, he's coming back, but this time he was there as ANC president, so that's over. But I feel like there was so much left that wasn't asked. And now when he comes back as South Africa's president, what really is there to be discussed now?
He's going to come back obviously as in his capacity as deputy president, right? So everything that was happening in government, especially now when we talk about state capture, because obviously state capture, quote unquote, is not ANC per se, but state capture is in the government. But at the same time, government is made of three spheres. There's three spheres of government: legislative, judiciary, right? Judiciary, legislative, and obviously the government themselves. So now, when you talk about state capture, we need to be able to look at all three spheres, right, and assess properly that, okay, was the judiciary captured by the Guptas? Because obviously this is Jacob Zuma and the Guptas. Were they captured? Why? Legislature, were they captured? Maybe because in any case he went through 9 motions of no confidence, but because he was in charge, he still had the power to say, okay. So in that regard, when we look at state capture, to look at it holistically, but at the same time we need to find out, okay, Ramaphosa, you were there for 5 years. What was your role there? Also as head of government business. At the end of the day, as deputy president, he was the head of government business, looking after all SOEs, which were all captured by the Guptas.
It wasn't really an executive role.
And just one more thing, Gwede Mantashe came out and said the first 5 years of Zuma's administration was progressive, and then things kind of went wrong in the second 5 years, the second term. That's the same term Ramaphosa was saying. So if things went wrong in that second term, what was Ramaphosa's role within that second term, to things to degenerate to where they actually got to in that sense. I think that's what he has to literally answer to. And if the commission does not poke hard enough or ask the relevant questions in that regard, I think might just prove a lot of people right that this commission, quote unquote, is a sham. So I don't know.
But they did say also in the commission reports to Ramaphosa. So it's also like a bit weird as to how much can you probe someone on things that you're going to report to them on. But speaking of the Guptas, now they've been banned in the UK. They can't do business in the UK. There's also pressure on them. And then coming back to Noma's testimony, sure, for all of us it's just funny seeing a woman that used to defend her husband at every corner now go against him. But I think because of that, the funny part of it, we don't realize how serious the stuff she was saying is.
For sure.
Because she's basically the first one that is clearly outlined from the inside. Somebody who had direct dealings with the Guptas. I mean, talking about how she knew about the ministers, and these are things that have been in the media.
For sure.
With other people. But now, this was the first time we heard from someone who was almost an active player. But how damning do you think that evidence is? Firstly for Mulusi, but also for the other guys who dealt with the Guptas?
I think the most important thing is that at the end of the day, this is still hearsay.
Yeah,
Do you get what
because
I'm
it's from
saying?
the commission.
Yeah, it's still hearsay. I mean, from Norma herself. I mean, she did say 1, 2, 3. Where the receipts also on the other end, you know, because Melusi apparently now he's applied to cross-examine her. So that'll be quite interesting in terms of now he'll find out, he'll ask her, I don't know what type of probing question he'll ask her, but also these are things that she said she heard from Melusi. These are things that he told her, obviously in confidence, pillow talk, right? Exactly. But these are things that she heard.
Yeah.
So at the same time, if Melusi comes out and says, you're lying, what then?
What then?
At the same time, I mean, her story corroborates what's already outside. Yeah,
Outside.
so obviously, we're going to lean on believing her because 1 + 1 is 2. Where the smoke, there's fire. But at the same time, it's still hearsay.
Yeah.
Where is the picture of the bag of money? Where is that bag? You know, that's how I'm looking at it.
No, it's true.
But at the same time, sorry about that. At the same time, right? The person who started this thing is Kika.
Yeah.
He started the fight with Norma.
By calling the Hawksons,
Exactly.
who went there without jurisdiction.
Exactly. He went about it the wrong way, and I mean, for it to get to this point, I think it would be unfair for us to blame it on Norma.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who started it,
exactly.
and obviously she now retaliated, and it's just unfortunate that the bedroom talk, pillow talk is out in the public now. But at the same time, maybe it's actually what we need as a public to kind of get through this chapter, you know, of state capture.
Yeah.
And it's all, you know, secrecy, it's connecting the dots, we don't know. But now, like you said, there's someone who has first-hand, second-hand knowledge, you know, so.
But speaking of airing dirty laundry, bro, let's talk about Money Heist Season 5, starring our Tokyo. What was Tokyo saying with the 15 zeros, bro?
Yo, quadruple. Look, quadrillion, my G. At first, right, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Until I saw those numbers. 15 zeros, I was like, okay, cool. But I told you, maybe you did get scammed. But when I was talking to my brother about it, I mean, he thinks Tokyo probably put his money in there.
Yeah.
And he lost his money. Or he was thinking he was going to make a quick buck from this.
I also think the latter, because he said they presented the numbers to him.
Yeah.
They said you can manage those numbers, and now it didn't go right. So it's a bit of a funny one.
Yeah.
But it just shows so many more cracks in these guys.
Yeah.
What's Tokyo's situation with the ANC now?
Tokyo is still
card-carrying member.
You know, is a respected member of the movement, right? If I put it like that. But I mean, I don't think he's active in that regard. That is in the NEC. He's not in any decision making, but he's an elder. He's an elder of the movement. I think that would be the appropriate way to describe him. He's an elder of the movement, you know. But I think this has probably damaged a bit of the clout that he still had left.
How does a person that says I was in the struggle, I fought against white dominance, white supremacy, then I decided to be ambassador of the white spiritual voice fight. I'm like, do you need any other evidence that this thing is a bad idea?
I think the worst part of it, right, is that the Gmail that they have there, the email address that they have there is a Gmail address.
My man.
That's the first red flag. Gmail, you can see it that, okay.
Bro,
nah, it's
every scam, every tick box exercise of a scam starts with
it's a 419, bro. Yeah,
bro,
it's a 419.
It's crazy. But I want to touch on something that is very close to my heart. Yeah. And that's what happened last week, because we were shooting last week with the Cuban engineers.
Yeah, for sure.
That came through. So for me, obviously it's a personal thing, and I don't usually mix my two occupations. Yeah. But as somebody who studied engineering, watched their parents struggle to pay your engineering fees, then went to work designing water and sanitation systems, then went back to register for a master's to study water engineering, and seeing how much talent there is in South Africa. You know, at Wits, bro, the standard is so high, and we always say unnecessarily high. You do so much theory that you never even use at work, you know, and those things. And then now you see the excuse that Lindiwe Sisulu is making for bringing the engineers, talking about skills. Yeah. And you're like, but how? And this is a follow-up from the doctors that were brought in. Today we have a situation where doctors aren't being employed because apparently the posts aren't funded. Yeah. So you look at all this money that went to Cuba for the doctors. Now you look at all this money that's going to Cuba for the engineers, and you still know there are a lot of engineers that aren't employed in South Africa currently. So what do you think the real agreement with Cuba is that's taking place here? Because all the stories were being sold are clearly not true.
I mean, South Africa-Cuba relationship goes way back, you know. I think the biggest problem that people have is that agreement or relationship we have, right, when does it stop? When does it expire?
Or even when does it take a pause? Because now we're going through a pandemic, we don't have funds, we have unemployment. When does it even take a pause? But also, why can't you be honest with the people? Because how
do they justify? Because I mean, Cuba's biggest source of foreign currency is them sending out their doctors, their engineers, and whatever the doctors get paid and engineers get paid, the country takes a portion of it. That's the biggest source of their foreign currency. I mean, skills-wise, we have to give it to them. They do have the skills. They've managed to develop skills under very hostile environment of sanctions by the USA, not being able to literally trade with other countries because of the sanctions. But at the same time, like you said, we've got a problem with unemployment in South Africa. We don't have a skills problem. We don't have a skills problem. We've got a jobs problem. The jobs might be there, are there. Is the private sector and government playing ball to get the people in those jobs? No. But now when you bring in those Cubans, like you're saying, in those positions where you could have taken you know, because you have the skills, and I'm not just blowing your air or whatever. Because I'm
overqualified for the Cubans.
You see, but at the same time, I think it was a PR nightmare. Why? Because those skills transfers or exchanges happen across all departments. You know, with different countries, Germans, whatever. But there's no hullabaloo around it. There's no one waiting at the airport for them to come and welcome them and saying you're here, you're here. So now when you do that, obviously you bring yourself attention, unnecessary attention. This thing could have gone under the radar, if being honest, and they could have just kept it moving.
I think for me it's sort of undermining the public. Because like I said, we know the history of South Africa and Cuba. We know. Tell us the truth. Tell us you want to donate money to Cuba. You know, tell us you want to donate money to Cuba and you want to bring their guys here. They're getting the experience from here.
For sure.
Now, EXA, the engineering council, has come out and said, but according to our rules, if these guys don't meet professional registration standards, they can't even work on their own. Now you'll have a guy supervising a guy that's supposed to be imparting skills to the other guy. And then now the funniest thing they said, because the Cubans have experience with aged infrastructure. What? So, but
and our biggest issue now is maintenance. Right, but it looks like our government is maintenance is not on.
It's not a priority.
It's not a priority.
According to ESCOM,
across the whole board, the roads you can see with the roads. We'd rather now give out a tender and challenge and so stuff, and then but don't maintain that road. It's useless.
Exactly.
You know, it's useless. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I think it's an indictment on AXA also, right? The other professional bodies, you can't practice. You can't practice. AXA you can practice with or without them. Depending on also where you practice it.
Because AXA, there are a lot of loopholes. Not in just AXA, but in the engineering faculty, in the engineering field as a whole. Because AXA almost controls once things go wrong. It's a known secret that in South Africa, a lot of guys that aren't qualified to practice engineering are practicing engineering. If you look at all the tenders that are going out for infrastructure, if you went and actually checked who's on site, you'd realize that there are a lot of those loopholes. But as bad as that is, things still are getting done to a certain extent.
But that won't happen in the auditing faculty. You get what I'm saying?
In the medical faculty, that won't happen.
That's what I'm saying. That might be an indictment also on AXA themselves to look at, I don't know what type of body they are.
But they don't have, you also have to look at how much power they have. So if you look at engineering or infrastructure, the government has decided that that's where they're going to empower people through.
For sure.
You know, they can't do that in medicine. They can't say, guys, if you don't have any work, maybe just go and be assisting in the surgery or whatever. But the government has chosen that through projects on infrastructure, that's where they're going to put, what do you call this, EPWP?
For sure.
They're going to put this other one's called Vukupile, where they get small contractors and they build them. So it's just the it's just overcapacitated because people the government has clearly said that we're going to set the standard this low.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna take a guy who has no engineering experience, give him a big contract, then tell them they need an extra registered engineer that's gonna charge them a certain amount, they're gonna be like, we can't afford that. Let's just get someone there. So it's the government not really supporting EXA as well.
Yeah, I hear you, right? But my thing is, even with the built environment, that's why you have the HNBSA, those guys obviously, those guys deal with the quality of the work, the bricklaying, what you're doing there. If there's cracks in 3 years' time, obviously you can get reported there, and then you get revoked. Then there's the CIDB. But the engineering thing, I think, I hear what you're saying, but it could be totally different.
No, it could be. I mean, we have a lot of problems with it. But it's if government's mandate is to empower people through it, they won't empower and then put strict restrictions on it. But
okay.
I don't think we have time to cover the vaccine rollout, but the J&J is back on. What do you think of that?
Yo, I'm cool, bro.
But why did they suspend it, bro? 1 in 6 million people, 6 clots in about 6 million people that have been vaccinated, at least partially in America. And then South Africa just stops it following from America. And we already knew that they're going to come out and say, the chances are so low.
Yes.
But we had to think about that before they could.
I think it's two ways, right? There's the liability capability clause that they have that, those J&J guys or the producers of the vaccine can't be held liable. The state will be held liable if something happens. So I think maybe there's just a bit of caution on this, just to make sure that everything is still cool, everything is fine, before they say, okay, we're just going to carry on with this thing, and then boom, next thing someone else dies, something happens in that regard. But at the same time, international best practice, the USA obviously sets the standard, and then we just follow. I don't know what that says about our research councils and all these guys, but unfortunately, they're leaders and we are followers.
I said on the last episode when we shot with Sumeya and Kateko that right now you might as well just watch US news and then you watch our news 2 weeks later on catch up to say this is what's going on with the vaccine. But America's...
Is that a surprise?
It's not.
Because I mean, they are the number one country in the world, most powerful, all those things. So I think it makes sense that, look, putting aside the fact that in general SA wants to be like America, but I think all countries sort of follow the USA's lead.
But then there's also logic.
Of course.
Sometimes there's logic. And the thing that when we were talking last week, we said, okay, now internationally we have access to all the news, right? So America makes a mistake, then we question the mistake, South Africa follows on the mistake, we question them, they use the same explanation America used, then they want to come back and say, no, now we are changing with America. Like now the justification Zweli Mkhize is giving is that the chances of you getting the clot are very minimal. We were saying that the whole time, but he was denying it then. They were saying that they have to stop it, they don't know if it's safe. So that's the problem of so what's the use of our government?
I guess, it was clearly wrong to
dismiss it.
To dismiss, but I think clearly the government had to try and show some kind of caution.
For sure.
Let's see if there's an alternative solution
for sure.
before we go back to
sorry, just one last thing, right? I think that's a little bit off, right? Is what's going on in India now.
My man,
what's going on in India right now, and then now the US at the same time.
The US are doing that.
They still have what you call the serum that they use to manufacture the vaccine. It's still embargoed to be exported.
Okay.
Yeah, because India wants that stuff to manufacture vaccines, obviously. And then the US still they can't import that. A couple of days later, Bill Gates says he does not support, or he said no to the sharing of the IP around the manufacturing of the vaccine.
South Africa actually led the push to have the IP of the vaccines being made public so that countries can start distributing, right? And then America said no. They apparently they saying that the fact that they have it alone means that people can still invest and the research moves faster, and we're like, Well, bro,
pandemic, bro.
if you really want us to believe that you didn't start the vaccine,
Exactly. The Panasonic.
the Panasonic, this is not the way to go
Yeah.
about it, because now in India, as much as those politicians have made mistakes
Yeah.
and declared the virus non-existent too early, now people are dying. For you to watch people die
it's
with
crazy.
the power to just give them
Literally with a stroke of a pen. Yeah.
like literally with an email you can save
There you
thousands
go.
of lives daily, and you're saying no to that, and yet you want us to believe that this thing was not planned,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
crazy.
you make fun of people that are saying that like are conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Dude, these people are making so much money. You know, you can't. There's even a non-refund policy on the vaccine.
Dude, they want state assets as surety
My man, for a vaccine.
for vaccine. State assets as
And
surety.
Bill Gates once said, there was Bill Gates if he wants to run for public office. And he said, no, he doesn't want to be president. He feels like when you invest money in the right places, you have more
Yeah,
power than the president.
definitely.
And you look at this, how many presidents are going to be indebted to
Janssen.
Pfizer, J&J now?
Well, AstraZeneca's out the way because that doesn't work.
And I look, bro, America right now, they're opening up. I think New York, they said New York's going back to normal on the 4th or something of
Yeah.
July, 1st of July.
I think Joe Biden said if you have been vaccinated, you can walk around without a mask.
Without a mask. And I'm like, I'm not too sure, but they have the power to go back and change if things go wrong.
for
They're not
sure.
like India. India, if things go wrong,
That's
they
gone,
fucked.
yeah.
America, they have the power to change things, take a new turn. But
with Joe Biden
Yeah.
allowing people who are vaccinated
Yeah.
to not wear masks, do you think they're trying to appease the faction of Trump supporters who are against
Half
feeling
and
like
half.
they're being oppressed by masks?
half and half. I think those guys are defeated, but the economies are suffering, and I think it's more a case of, well, we're not going to beg you to take the vaccine. We're just going to say guys that
can't
have
do
taken the
this,
vaccine
yeah.
can do stuff. Because now America's problem is convincing people to take the vaccine.
Yeah.
Our problem is even
don't
seeing if the
have-
vaccine exists. Like,
We
so
don't have.
Are
We don't
you-
have a equal.
It's an incentive.
yeah. But yeah, I think that covers my main topics. Anything you want to add in before we close?
Support black business. Let's push black business. Hard being in business and being black, but we can do it together. We can do it together. We can change the world. You know, we can change the economy.
Yeah.
You know, we can restructure it. We can achieve things beyond our wildest dreams if we just come together, be united, and support each other. You know, purposefully. You know, we make the decision to support each other. It mustn't be a second choice, an afterthought. No, must do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And then we'll be
So,
okay.
what did you think of racist banks must fall?
Bro, we're actually having this conversation last night around the fire. APSA is an organization. I'm not scared to mention it.
Yeah.
APSA is an organization. It's not a company anymore, right?
Yeah.
But the people inside that organization, they're the problem.
Yeah.
They're the problem. And obviously, when Daniel Minelli came in there, he came in obviously as CEO. He is the person who is entrusted with the strategy.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason why the company would still have to defend Maria Ramos' strategy.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a new guy that you headhunted, waited for the cooling off period.
Yeah.
He's in there for 18 months and then jiggy all of
Yeah,
a
he's
sudden
gone.
something is wrong.
He's
You
gone.
know, so it's that culture of the Buddha bond, the white boys, you know, clubbing back together, taking what's theirs,
Yeah.
that I think ultimately pushed Daniel Minelli out, unfortunately. You know, even if you look at it, say they are certain staff members that were threatening obviously to leave. If you look at that group of companies, list group of directors, whatnot, you can just see that these guys are
Yeah.
scheme saver.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems there.
Yeah.
Bro. There's a lot of problems. It's not just them.
Yeah.
It's almost, there's a very big, well, fuck it
Yeah,
attitude.
exactly.
We done trying to appease to the
You know why?
black people.
My suspicion why that is like, right? If you look at the board of directors of all the big banks, Nedbank has Ina Kondongwa. He's the head of ANC's economic policy. He sits on the board, or he sat on the board. They've got Royal Cause. I think he's going to be chairperson of Discovery Bank. He's chairperson of the PIC. He is the money that is funding all these banks,
Yeah.
but he's also on those boards. And then you've got ABSA, Sipho Pichani, I think it's Anglo Plats and all
Yeah.
this that. So all those so-called influential black people are there rubber stamping this non-transformation.
Yeah.
So obviously those guys, because they have those guys, all of those guys in their pockets, they're gonna be emboldened. They're gonna be brazen about it. They don't have to hide it anymore. Because in any case, head of ANC's economic transformation is sitting on the board with us. So is he gonna make decisions like pushing for a state-owned bank, or pushing for how banks are licensed, getting more banks licensed, and cutting the red tape around that when he sits on the board of that bank? He's not gonna create competition for that bank. But story for another day.
Story for another day. It's good having you back, bro.
I missed you guys. But even now, I'm going to dip a bit and then I'm going to come back crazy, guys. My presence again. But I missed you guys.
That's right. So that's where we're going to leave it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to do the usual. Like, subscribe, comment, share the video with a friend or two. And yeah, do stay tuned. We're still shooting at Sim Coffee at 3 Campbell Road right here in Fourways. And yeah, stay tuned. Cheers.